Emily Carter leaned against the white picket fence of her little house on Willow Lane, wiping sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. The sun had been merciless that afternoon, glaring down on Maplewood with a heat that shimmered across the asphalt street. She set down the watering can, glancing at her small flower bed where marigolds and petunias struggled to hold their color under the summer blaze. It was quiet on her street, as it always was. Maplewood wasn't the kind of place where drama happened, or at least not the kind people talked about. At 31, Emily had grown used to the stillness of it, the way life rolled by like a slow, steady train. Her neighbors were kind, though not close. She waved politely to Mrs. Henderson, the retired librarian across the street, and made small talk with Mr. Peterson, who always seemed to be fixing something in his garage. But real connection, that was harder to come by. After her divorce 3 years ago, Emily had learned how to live on her own. She bought this house with her savings, filled it with second-hand furniture, and told herself she was fine. And most days, she was. She went to work at the high school where she taught English, came home, cooked dinner, and read half a book before falling asleep. But sometimes, in the quiet moments when the cicadas hummed outside and the clock ticked in her empty kitchen, the loneliness pressed in like a weight she couldn't shake. That was before Jack moved in. Emily first saw him on a Tuesday morning when a moving truck pulled into the empty house next door. She peeked out her window, curious. A tall man climbed out of the truck, wearing a plain gray t-shirt and jeans. His hair was sandy brown, his sleeves rolled up, and a Labrador leapt excitedly from the cab to sniff the grass. Emily watched as he stretched his arms, glanced at the house, and then, almost as if he could feel her eyes, looked straight at her window. She jerked back, heart racing, embarrassed to be caught staring. When she cautiously looked again, he was waving. A simple, easy smile on his face. That evening, while Emily was watering her lawn, he walked over. "Hey there," he said. His voice was warm, friendly, without a hint of hesitation. "I'm Jack. Just moved in next door." Emily adjusted her watering can. "Welcome to Maplewood," she said. "Thanks. So, is this the kind of neighborhood where everyone knows each other, or do I just smile and keep to myself?" Emily almost laughed. "Mostly waving and keeping to yourself. But if you need a recommendation for pizza, Tony's is the best in town." "Noted," Jack said, grinning. "And you're?" "Emily. I teach at the high school." "Well, Emily, it's nice to meet you." He gave a quick whistle, and the Labrador bounded up beside him. "This is Max. He thinks everyone is his best friend." Emily crouched slightly, letting Max sniff her hand before giving him a gentle pat. "He's adorable. Don't tell him that too much," Jack said. "It'll go to his head." They both chuckled, and for the first time in a long time, Emily felt something loosen inside her. Over the next few weeks, little interactions became routine. Emily would see Jack jogging with Max in the mornings. Sometimes he'd wave while carrying grocery bags inside. Other times, he'd lean over the fence to ask how her day had been. It was casual, easy, never forced. One Saturday morning, Emily struggled in her backyard with a brand new patio set she had ordered online. The instructions looked like they'd been written in another language, and the bolts didn't seem to match any of the holes. Frustration bubbled inside her as she muttered under her breath. "Looks like that chair's winning the fight," a voice called. She turned to see Jack, toolbox in hand, leaning against the fence. "I can handle it," Emily said quickly, though the half-built mess of metal and screws betrayed her. "I don't doubt it," Jack said, climbing the fence gate. "But it'll go faster with 2 sets of hands. Mind if I help?" Her instinct was to refuse. To say no, because needing help had become something she avoided at all costs. But she hesitated. His expression wasn't smug or pushy, it was genuine, patient. "If you don't mind," she finally said. Together, they worked. Jack cracked jokes about the terrible instructions, Emily rolled her eyes at his exaggerated frustration, and by the afternoon, the patio set was complete. She poured him lemonade in return, and they sat at the table they had built together, the summer air thick but comfortable. "You know," Jack said between sips, "you've got a nice place here." Emily glanced around her modest backyard, the uneven fence, the patchy lawn, the flower bed that could have used more care. It's nothing fancy. Doesn't need to be, Jack replied. It feels, lived in. Like a home. Emily didn't answer, but his words stayed with her. As summer stretched on, Jack became more than just a neighbor. He was the person who brought her packages up the porch when she was at work. The one who fixed her squeaky door hinge without being asked. The one who laughed with her on the back porch while Max chased fireflies. She didn't realize how much she had come to rely on his presence until the storm hit. It was a late August night when thunder cracked like a whip in the sky. Emily sat curled on her couch, hugging her knees as rain battered the windows. Storms always unsettled her, dragging her back to childhood memories of hiding under blankets while her parents argued in the other room. The lights flickered once, twice, then went out completely. Darkness swallowed the room, and Emily's chest tightened. Her breath grew shallow. A knock came at the door. "Emily, it's Jack." She rushed to open it, finding him drenched, holding a flashlight. Max stood beside him, shaking water from his fur. "Your lights went out," Jack said, stepping inside when she moved aside. "Thought you might want some company." Emily's throat tightened. She wanted to say she was fine, that she didn't need anyone. But instead, she whispered, "Thank you." They sat in the living room, the flashlight casting soft shadows across the walls. Jack handed her a blanket, his presence steady and calm. The storm raged outside, but inside, Emily felt something she hadn't in years: safe. "I don't usually," she began, then stopped, unsure how much to reveal. "Let people in?" Jack asked gently. She nodded. Jack leaned back, his gaze kind but unflinching. "I get it. But sometimes, it feels good to share the storm with someone else." Emily's laugh came shaky, but real. "I didn't know it would feel that good, until I let you in." The words slipped out before she could stop them. But once spoken, they felt right. True. Jack didn't push, didn't tease. He just smiled softly, like he understood. The storm eventually passed, the rain fading to a drizzle. But something had changed that night. For the first time in years, Emily realized that maybe, just maybe, letting someone in didn't have to end in hurt. It could bring comfort, healing, even joy. In the weeks that followed, Emily found herself opening up more. She told Jack about her divorce, about how she had built this life alone because she was afraid of being broken again. He told her about leaving the city, about losing his father and needing a fresh start. Little by little, their stories intertwined. Their laughter filled the spaces that used to feel empty. Emily's heart, once locked so tightly, began to open. And in that opening, she discovered something beautiful, the simple, quiet truth that sharing your life with someone, even just the small, ordinary moments, could feel better than she ever imagined. She didn't know it would feel that good, until she let him in. And for the first time in a long time, Emily wasn't afraid of what came next. She was ready.